Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Char here, back with another kind of odd video. I'll be honest with you. We're doing a Halloween special today, and I was trying to think of ideas, and I'm like, you know what? This idea sounds so stupid that no one would ever get. Let's go with it, was my idea. So we're doing a Halloween tier list for the heroes and Marvel champions. And if I would be lying to you if I told you I knew the exact criteria I'm going to be using, but that's going to happen as we go through the tier list. So we have a couple categories here. We have S tier for spooky. We have A tier for afterlife. I'm thinking like life of the party. B for boogie man. C for cemetery, meaning the vibes are kind of down, and then D for demon. I think I might actually just change that to death because they're just completely out of the Halloween spirit. Yeah, let's say it's like a Halloween spirit sort of tier list based on how they play in Marvel Champions, what I know about their character through the game and through other media like the MCU, my very limited comic knowledge, and just some assumptions I'm going to be making about some of the characters here. Um, just like how much would they get into the Halloween spirit? You know, are they excited for trick or treaters? Would they go to like a Halloween party? Would they dress up in a costume? You know, kind of their uniform is gonna play a bit into it as well. But I. I don't know how to transition from this. Let's get started. Okay, so let's look at Spider-Man here. Spider-Man has to be probably S or A tier at minimum. Usually he's depicted as someone who's in their young 20s. He's snarky. He's always having a good time. Spider-Man he gets into the Halloween spirit. It doesn't matter that he has no money. He's going out. He's buying candy and he's giving it to them, the kids who, and he also would be the life of a Halloween party too. Captain Marvel is next. Now, this one is a bit tough. Usually, she's depicted pretty high strung, stringent. You know, she's this like space galaxy defender. And because of that, I don't know if she would not participate at all. The vibe I'm getting is like, it's like she would show up, but I'm not sure if she's really into it. It's kind of like maybe someone invited her there. I don't know. Okay, next one, we're going for Iron Man. Now, Iron Man is kind of like this rich guy archetype, at least how he's portrayed in media. He's really focused on his invention and stuff like that. But I think he could have a little fun at a Halloween party. I think a B tier is fine. You see that he can kind of send his suits of armor, at least the MCU one could like, you know, mess with some people on Halloween, mess with trick-or-treaters. He has so much money. I don't think he himself would be giving the candy, which is why it knocks down a couple points. I think he'd probably have his suits give the candy if they came up to like the Stark Mansion or whatever, or Stark Tower. But you know, it's not like he's shooing them away. Next, we have Black Panther. So I think Black Panther, he's gonna get a lot of points for his suits alone. Like, man, this looks like a Halloween costume. It would be scary. He could like, you know, be out on the prowl, scare kids who come up. I don't know how big of a celebration Halloween would be in Wakanda. I feel like it might be a bit foreign to him, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd give him A tier. I think he's got to be like Iron Man, probably better than Iron Man. I think, you know, he'd really get into it at a Halloween party. He's probably a bit more caring for the average person. Iron Man cares, but like in a different way. So I'm just trying to justify him being above Iron Man based on this nebulous criteria I made up. Okay, next one, She-Hulk. So She-Hulk does not. Actually, it would be a really cool party trick to like, you know, Hulk out. You know, in some depictions she's always green, I think, and then other ones she can like grow bigger and turn green. I guess in every depiction it's kind of like that. So like Bruce Banner, the Hulk type of thing. I think she would be awesome at a Halloween party. I mean, I think we go A tier, probably above. Would she have a better costume? I think she would like make a costume. Like I think Spider-Man would show up in his hero uniform, but She-Hulk, her costume is kind of like it's like a leotard. She'd actually dress up. She'd get in her costume. She would be great at a Halloween type themed event. I'm not sure if I don't know if that's S tier worthy. I think A is good for now. We're going Captain America. Man, it's like when you get to these like kind of leader stoic type characters, it can really go either way. I don't think he's gonna be bringing the vibes down, but I do think he would be a bit traditional. He wouldn't be as, you know, loose strung as the other members or heroes in this list. I think he would you know, he would be fine. I don't know if that's cemetery though. I think it's gonna be above Captain Marvel, but it's just because it's not for him. It's not his scene. He's the man stuck in time, frozen for 100 years. It's just not his scene. Okay, as much as I love Doctor Strange as a hero, he's kind of like Tony Stark, but probably worse. I don't know. I feel like he just has. He'd probably think it's so. The concept of Halloween would be beneath him. Like he would show up just because like his costume and he like win a costume contest. But I'm not really sure if he'd be into the giving candy part. I'm not sure if that's specifically like D tier, but it's definitely the bottom of C. I just can't see Doctor Strange getting into it. Black Widow is really tough. You get another one of these like trained assassin spies, but I think because of those factors, I think she could let loose. I think, Halloween would be something she'd have a lot of fun with, like the other Avengers. She really cares for kids because of like maybe her kind of messed up upbringing. I think, yeah, I think Black Widow could get into it. That's a solid A tier. Hulk. Okay, now if we're going based off Hulk alone, um, man, my Hulk knowledge is kind of lacking here. I think that Hulk would just go wild at a Halloween party. Hulk himself, I think, would maybe be an S tier. But I'm thinking like Bruce Banner is kind of like maybe Captain America type tier, where it's just like, I don't know. This is such a hard call. I think, oh man, the Hulk is such a wild entity that it's like, yeah, the Halloween party would be fun, but like, would it be safe? I don't know. Does that make it more fun? Uh, I don't know if he'd care about the kids. Let's put him in B tier here. I think he'd probably be a bit more fun than the people that we see down in C tier. Okay, Thor. So the thing I have about Thor is usually depicted a bit more goofy than kind of like his Captain Marvel flying space guardian kind of, otherworld counterpart. He doesn't get Halloween, but he would quickly get Halloween if you understand what I'm saying. Like he does have that knowledge gap that he didn't grow up with it, but he'd be like, man, this is just like a party from Asgard. I think like an A tier would be Thor would get into it. I don't know if he'd be above Spider-Man, maybe above Black Widow. He'd get into it. We're going Halloween party, but also I think he's probably a very nice person, be open to giving candy to, students and whatnot. Okay, Miss Marvel, this has to be like her holiday, right? Like she's usually depicted pretty young. She's in the, she's in an age range where when she goes trick-or-treating, it's still not weird yet, so she can participate in that way at the party. She's got that young energy. Yeah, she'd be awesome. I mean, she probably has one of the most Halloween spirits. She's definitely making her costume or coming in a different costume. She'll use her power to like make something really unique and creative. Okay, Ant-Man. The only Ant-Man lore I got is off the MCU movies, which is usually gonna be the case for a lot of these characters. But okay, Ant-Man. He'd be like, he's like Spider-Man level, right? He's a bit older. He's usually depicted a bit older, but he would get into Halloween. He'd do some form changing shenanigans. He'd make a suit that, fit his costume that isn't just Ant-Man. And then, yeah, I think that would be that. Then we have to go to Wasp next. See, like this one, I have almost no, I have like nothing. No information on where she would land. Something's telling me it's gonna be kind of cemetery, but I could see her like Hulk level. This one I have no idea. Quicksilver's another one I'm gonna be kind of stuck on. The Halloween concept might be a little foreign to him. I'm not sure if it would. I think it would be unsure to him in a point where it'd be odd, like kind of like the cemetery people down here, the C tiers. But I think he'd get into it more earnestly than a Doctor Strange would. Let's go like that. I think Scarlet Witch would probably be a similar story to the cemetery, but I think she would get into it. Not to a level of like Thor, but I think we could see a Scarlet Witch just, caring for the children, passing out candy, maybe using some of her magic, telekinesis and whatnot. And then also like I think she'd have a costume. She's got a lot of magic and things that would work out. I think it'd be good. Hawkeye really gives me like your dad that's trying to be cool energy in a lot of the things I've seen of him. And it's not like in a cringe, well, like it is in a cringe way, but it's like really earnest and endearing. And I think that energy is fun for like a party or for kids, because he's very like, he tries to be scary, like he'll try and scare the kids, but he makes sure to like give them a good amount of candy, or make sure like he makes it worth their time. I think I could see Hawkeye really Yeah, probably above Black Widow. I can see that. I think Hawkeye would be good. Then we have Spider Woman. This is probably I keep saying this, but as it gets to further characters, this is a character I know almost nothing about. We know she's renting an apartment. She's not like a homeowner. Maybe we can make some assumptions about that in the game. She can fly. She has a lot of different spider abilities. She seems pretty chill, kind of in her younger days. I don't see why she couldn't be an A tier. I think she'd get into it. She's at an age where she's like young enough for like, man, like I'm still young, right? In kind of that kind of way with the Halloween party, you really Halloween probably peaks when you're a bit younger, in my opinion, and then it also peaks again when you're in your like mid to late 20s because you're like, man, this holiday's so fun. I get to meet my friends. You go all out for costumes. I think she's kind of in that second peak area where she'd be a lot of fun. Star Lord, look, he grew up on Earth. He knows exactly what Halloween is. If we're talking about someone who's the life of the party, Peter Quill, he's got to be up there, right? Like, I don't think needs to be a lot of discussion on this one. The Guardians are going to score pretty highly in this, I think. Most of them. So I think we'll just move on to the next one. Drax. Ooh, Drax is going to be tough. So Drax is another Thor situation where he has no concept of Halloween, but he would unintentionally become the life of the party along with like Star-Lord. Now I don't know if he'll be more than, Miss Marvel or something like that, but he will kind of stumble into Halloween success and he will be like, wow, earthly customs are amazing. He'd enjoy it. If we're looking at the other end of the spectrum here, I think Gamora might be down here in the cemetery tier. She would begrudgingly participate. She would give the children candy, but in terms of participating in like the party festivity and things like that, I just can't see her getting into it. It's not even like a higher than now way than Doctor Strange. I just think it's just I just can't see it. Can't see it at all. Venom, when we're thinking of Agent Venom here, I know nothing about how he actually acts, but I think that the Venom suit itself is a cool party trick. I think he could get into it with like scaring kids with the Venom suit. It could like come off of him like half and half. I think he'd have a lot of fun with it. I think he'd have fun in a party setting. I think an A tier is solid. I don't know if I'd put him above any of the other ones in A tier, but I think an A tier. Groot, again, like with the other Guardians, he's just got to be in an S tier. No one could understand him. He's a walking costume. It's just, he'd care about the kids, give them like a ton of candy. Like, this is just one of those things that shouldn't have to be stated, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. Then we're going to Rocket. So Rocket he's a bit selfish. He's usually depicted pretty selfish, but he does care about his team members in the Guardians, right? So I'm trying to think. I don't think he'd really care about giving the candy out. I think he'd have fun, but only because it's a party and not necessarily it had anything to do with the holiday. I don't know if he'd really get it. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of B tier. I'm not sure if he'd like ruin the vibe because he'd still be into the partying, but yeah, I don't know. Now we're getting into Nebula here. I hate to be like this. I think Nebula might be our first D tier. I just don't think, even if she understood it, like maybe Gamora could kind of find herself enjoying the party or they're giving the candy a little bit. I think Nebula would understand it and kind of like in a Doctor Strange way be like, this is so below me. I might be horribly mischaracterizing Nebula right here. So of course, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is me based off the Marvel Champions. She's working on her technique. She's doing other things. She's repairing her ship. Halloween is just not something on her radar. It's not something she cares about. We're going to War Machine next. So if we're going like how Rhodey, he's like a soldier, right? He was in the army, and how he's depicted kind of like in the MCU. He's a bit less high strung than Tony, right? He's a little more easygoing. The shoulder cannon would, maybe get some attention at a Halloween party, right? He's kind of like, he's got that dad energy a bit, but I don't know if he really cares about Halloween. Not saying that he wouldn't participate. I think we could maybe go like, maybe Hulk has higher highs and way lower lows. I think he'd be like a consistent middle of the road. I think, of course, he'd obviously be there for the kids, give the candy, and then at a party, he'd be like, all right. Vision is really tough. I'm almost tempted to put him in a similar vein as like a Drax or a Thor, where they don't really understand it, but they just get into it anyways. But I think Vision would get into it. It's just like the way he would get into it would be really weird and not really like a super outgoing party type of way, but in like making sure everyone at the party themselves were having fun, making sure every kid got like an equal amount of candy that was like sectioned off for them. No one takes like more than their fair share. I'm not sure if it's necessarily, maybe it's the top of Cemetery. Maybe we go one spot above Rocket here. It would just, he wouldn't ruin the vibe at all. It would just, it's just a different way he'd be celebrating. Valkyrie, yeah, this is another one. I could only guess here. Valkyrie's kind of got like a bit more of a, feisty attitude from what this art kind of depicts here. She got her death glow. She could do like maybe party tricks. I think she could get into it. I think she could maybe be a Thor level. We're just gonna say an A tier. I think she'd be fun. She'd have Pegasus at the party. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Okay, we have Monica Rambeau. We got Spectrum next. Yeah, see, this one is another one where I have no idea. I think she's at an age. I'm just making assumptions based on this art. I'm thinking of like the Power of Flight card. She has these different energy forms she could go into. I think that's another fun party trick. I think she might be a bit old for Halloween though, but not old enough to where you're like kind of like an old dad or an old mom that really likes giving out the candy. She's kind of maybe in that early 30s, like early to mid 30s, where it's like, like Halloween isn't this big thing. Maybe your family's growing in. For some reason, I just don't think she'd be like that into it. Would she be more? She'd probably be more into it than all the people in seats here, but yeah, I'm not sure. Adam Warlock. So I finished playing the Guardians of the Galaxy game on the PS4, and he was pretty funny in that one, but it was like an unintentional. This is the one where I think this person would be the most lost at what Halloween is, and you could try your hardest to explain it to him, and he would never get it. And I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I'm not sure how he feels about partying. Usually, he's kind of like the stoic-ish protector. Yeah, this one is really tough. Adam Warlock, we know he has Pip the Troll with him. We know he's got like his cue ball and his cape. I think it'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be cooler than Doctor Strange. He's kind of like a Doctor Strange substitute. I don't know if I'd put him in B tier. He's probably the top of C tier. Nova, I mean, specifically Sam Alexander, he's got like that young person buff for Halloween. He's so into it. Like he looks forward to this every year. He's got his costume that isn't going to be his Nova costume. In a party, he'd get into it, right? Like obviously you can't, Miss Marvel and him, they can't drink alcohol, maybe like some of the adults on this list, but they don't need that, man. They got all that energy. They love Halloween. Like there's just like, these are so obvious. Now we have Ironheart. So Ironheart is a bit of an interesting case. She is sort of in that young person camp, sort of like a, Nova and Miss Marvel, but I'm not sure if she really has like that Zoomer energy, and it's like kind of a hard thing to quantify, to really be into like Halloween or something like that. I think she would be into it because she's young. I just don't know how into it she would be. I think maybe like she's got maybe like a bit better than Thor. Yeah, I think A tier is probably fine. SPDR is really interesting. I only know anything about her lore from the Spider-Verse movies. And she's like Japanese, and I don't know if they celebrate Halloween in Japan. I don't know if she has the Zoomer energy required either, but because she's so young, I just don't I don't know if she would get it. This is really tough. I feel like I just have to make a judgment call on this one. The spider suit, kind of like how she's in this mech. I think she'd be killing it. I don't know if it'd be spooky, but I think I think we could go up here like maybe above She-Hulk. This is what I'm feeling, because I think she would get into it in her mech. She maybe make a different mech or maybe spray paint a different color. I don't know. I think she'd get into it. We got Spider-Ham next. It's got to be an S tier. It's like a similar Groot reason. He's a walking cartoon character, like in these, like all the people in these comic books, they're like cartoons, but he's like a cartoon, and he would definitely get into Halloween. There's just no doubt about it. He'd be like the life of the party, a ton of party tricks. Does he go harder than Star-Lord and Nova and Miss Marvel? I'm not sure. I think he would be more popular. I'm just not sure if he would go harder than them. I don't really know how to quantify that. Okay, next one we've got Ghost Spider. So this one's interesting. So Ghost Spider and Spider-Man, Miles Morales. These are gonna be interesting. I think they're teenagers, but they're kind of like a bit more mature is a way I would put it. Ghost Spider specifically, I think she might be she'd like it, but she's got a lot of things going on, right? She's got a band. Dad's a cop, so like there's a lot of things going on in her life that could be difficult that she has to navigate through. Her best friend is dead, right? She doesn't really have that close kinship of anyone to really celebrate the holiday with. I think I could see her in like no, I don't know here. I think I could see her at the bottom of A tier. No, I mean maybe even lower. No, I think bottom of A tier. She'd have some party tricks with the web shooters. I think Miles is gonna be in a similar spot, but maybe a little higher. Probably above, probably with the other spiders. Yeah, we'll put him above Ironheart. He's just got a similar energy to them, but he's younger, so maybe he should be above them. Yeah, we'll go like that. Yeah, I don't really have any more explanation than that. Colossus, we again get one of these archetypes where I don't know if he ever celebrated Halloween once when he was growing up, but the love for like giving back to the kids, giving them the candy. Unintentionally, he would be hilarious at the party, kind of like akin to a Thor that I made a reference to. I think Colossus would go crazy at a party. Yeah, Colossus would go crazy, but I don't know if he would be probably above Ironheart for sure. I think I want to move Ironheart below Thor. Man, I think he could even be above these guys. I think he'd be like, yeah, he just has a lot of love for the kids, like She-Hulk. We'll put him right under She-Hulk. Kitty Pryde, I don't think it's an explanation. This is Giga Zoomer energy you get from Kitty Pryde, in my opinion. Yeah, like I don't know. I really don't have any other explanation for this. She's young. She'd love Halloween. I mean, like, dude, Nova, Miss Marvel, and Kitty Pryde, they're all gonna be like just goofing off and having a good time, trick or treating themselves, and maybe they even give some candy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cyclops. Okay, so this is one that I love. Cyclops. He is one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite characters in general, right? Yeah, Cyclops is a tough one because, I just don't think he'd really be into Halloween that much. Kind of like get off my lawn type of energy. Kind of akin to a Doctor Strange in that way, where not that it's necessarily above him. I think he would be into it for like giving the kids the candy, but like with the bare minimum effort at a party, he's like, I got other things I need to do. I gotta lead the X-Men battle plans, things like that. I just can't see Cyclops like. It's gotta be like down here with like the Gamora Doctor Strange. It might even be like Death. Like I don't know. I just can't see it. I like Cyclops. I like him for like his leader energy. He's a tough leader. I like his abilities, but man, Halloween I don't think that's his holiday. I can see something like maybe a Christmas. He really gets into it with like the X-Men family. Jean Grey or Phoenix, I think would be like almost the exact opposite. I think they balance themselves out a lot. I'm not sure if I'd give her an S tier, but I think an A tier for sure. She'd have a lot of fun with it. She'd care for the kids. Maybe she wouldn't be the most, she wouldn't be like the life of the party, but she'd be a good addition. Maybe, yeah, right there. Storm, I think is a sort of similar to Jean Grey. She'd have that same caring, giving the candy out for kids, but she would be the life of the party. She would go up here and like, I don't know. I think she'd be an S tier for sure. I don't really have a ton of explanation on why. But yeah, that's just what I'm feeling. Next one we have is Wolverine. Wolverine is gonna be. This might be a controversial opinion. I've watched all of X-Men 97, so I do have a bit of a basis for his character off this one. Wolverine cares a lot for his friends, right? I just don't think he's a big thing for like group situations, especially like a Halloween party. He does care about children and like protecting people to a fault, but would he care about giving them candy? I don't know. I'm getting this impression that I feel like he'd find it kind of stupid, and then I'm gonna say this and someone's gonna link me like a comic where he went absolutely crazy at a Halloween party. But just from the vibe from X-Men 97, like I can't see him being any sort of good addition to like a Halloween party, giving candy or anything, I think he would show up. He would get dragged there by Jubilee for sure. And people, I mean, the dynamic at it, that dynamic of Wolverine and Jubilee would be funny on its own. I just, him himself, if Jubilee goes off somewhere and like, goes to like kind of like the Zoomer table up here in S tier, I mean, he's just like, it's kind of like an aura of just like, I don't want to be here. I would rather be doing anything else. And I think that's like a D tier. Angel, he's got kind of like that rich Iron Man kind of like snobby energy. I think he'd get into it. He'd be a bit quirked up. The quirked up white boy with some sauce. But I don't know if it would translate super well. But I for some reason I'm feeling like he is in between the top of C tier and bottom of V tier. I don't know how uptight and strung up. If he's in his Archangel form, I think because of that, B tier, just because maybe like a kind of a similar to a Hulk thing where it's like, oh, this guy is like here to like, don't mess with him. He will like kill you on the spot type of energy. Yeah. Then we have Cable coming up. So I think Cable has very similar energy to his dad. But I think he also has kind of like that old like grandfather, like uncle energy to him where it's just like, it's kind of a similar Wolverine-esque thing where he doesn't really want to be at the party, but he's actually like able to be dissuaded a little bit. So of course he'd be really caring, give the candy out to the kids, but I think he can be dissuaded a little bit to like let loose, like maybe tap his foot here and there to some music, have some fun, maybe have like kind of like a goofy little like a headband on with like some zany Halloween. I think he could be up here like Vision tier. He's not gonna get much higher. He's not gonna go crazy. A lot of his points is coming from him caring about like the children and whatnot. But yeah, Domino is definitely gives me Zoomer energy, that kind of like living on the edge of everything. The luck. I mean, I think she'd be crazy. She'd go crazy at a Halloween party. We're probably going up here in the S tier for sure. Deadpool, I mean, this is kind of the guy who is maybe rivaling, Star-Lord a little bit. But the thing is about Star-Lord, where he's like annoying, but like actually entertaining, most people just find Deadpool annoying. Like they don't find the endearing part of him. I think Star-Lord, it's easier to find that part. But Deadpool, he'd still be going crazy. I don't think he'd be at the top. I think, he's probably like Drax level. He's having a lot of fun for himself. He would, give candy to the kids, but he wouldn't be any of the things that people really liked about him at the party. Wouldn't be something he was like a purposeful bit he did. It would be kind of at his expense, where Drax is a similar scenario where like he still really wouldn't get Halloween at all, but it would still like work out. I don't really know how to describe this. So, okay. Next we're gonna do Gambit. Gambit, I don't know. He's definitely gives me that young, like mid-20s energy. He's like, gets really into the Halloween. I don't know. He'd have a really great party tricks. I just don't know if it's really to that same level as kind of like the Zoomers and a couple of the people up here. I think he'd have a good showing. Probably above Thor, right? Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him. Psylocke. Just from the card art I see of Psylocke and the impression I get, like the Psy Blade, the Psy Katana, she seems pretty serious in a way that maybe it's kind of hard for her to cut loose. I don't know if I'm doing like a character analysis very well here, but I think she would get into it to an extent, but it'd be kind of tough for her. I'm feeling it's like a C tier energy from her. There's just like, I don't know. There's just something about her that I just don't know if she could really get into it. Okay, we're going to go Rogue next. Rogue is a similar situation to Gambit. Her and Gambit are showing up together. They're in their couples costumes. But I think, I'm not sure how. I think Gambit would probably be one who's more loose, and Rogue would be, a bit more careful around the edges, keeping out, making sure nothing's going wrong at the party. And because of that, it makes her a bit more high strung. I think maybe like above Phoenix. She'd still be an A. She'd really enjoy herself. She'd give the candy to the kids, on the night of, and then enjoy her time at a party, right? I think that's a good spot for her. So X-23 is usually portrayed pretty young, but her upbringing is usually pretty messed up. She never really had a Halloween. On one aspect, she for the kids at the party or whatnot, or like the kids who come to like the house or wherever she's situated on Halloween, she would make sure they had the best Halloween ever. But for herself, I feel like it'd be kind of hard. Um, it's kind of like a similar Black Widow energy, I think, but I think it'd be a little. She'd maybe have a harder time trying to let loose. Maybe we'll go top of B tier here. Um, Iceman has Giga Zoomer energy, even if he's in his mid 20s, late 20s. Early, he's definitely gonna be up here. The ice party tricks are going to go crazy. Probably above Domino. I don't know if he can really break into this. Is he above Spider Ham? He's probably above Spider Ham. I don't know if he's gonna break into the Zoomer tier plus Star Lord, but yeah, he loves Halloween. He loves it for the kids. He loves it at the party. Yeah, this is one of his favorite holidays for sure. And we're going now to Jubilee, who I don't know how to quantify this. Jubilee, this is the holiday for her. If you think of the X-Men 97 or the original X-Men animated series, she had like that sort of fantasy episode. She takes the kids to the storybook. 100% would be giving out candy and then also have the time of her life at her party. She literally has fireworks as her power. I mean, it's just like it's almost hard to beat her on like literally the vibe alone. It's just like almost impossible. If I could have a tie like 1 and 2, Star-Lord and Jubilee, this would have to be it. Yeah, I mean Jubilee, it's just so obvious. This is a holiday for her. Bishop's a bit tough. Bishop is usually this. He's usually depicted with like, man, he's got to save the future over and over. He's got to go back in time. Really high strung. I think he can let loose a little bit at a party. He definitely care for the kids. Do I think he could probably let loose a bit more? He's a bit similar to Cable in that way. He could probably let loose a bit more than Cable. Man, I don't really know if I can even put him above the Wasp. I think they're very similar here. Yeah, I don't really have any other explanation, but that's what I gotta do. So now we're going to Magic here. I haven't even played this hero. The same thing with Bishop. I still haven't bought Age of Apocalypse yet. So I literally have no idea. I know she has like the scrying power. She's a mystic. The mystics aren't super highly rated on this list, and but she is young, so that gives her some points. So I think on that note, maybe she's just like a bit higher than Scarlet Witch. I think she's a bit high strung. She's got like a greater purpose type of thing going on. Makes her hard to really go crazy on these like mortal holidays, but she'd have a good time. Now we've got Nightcrawler. I think if we're looking at like Wolverine, it's kind of like, man, this like aura that no one wants to be around. Nightcrawler is probably the exact opposite. He's got big Zoomer energy. I don't know how else to quantify that, as I've been using as a shorthand in this. He'd have a ton of fun. Even though he's like pretty religious in some depictions, he knows that Halloween isn't what people depict it as, like a devil, demon, demonic holiday. He'd have a lot of fun with it in his own way. I don't know how high up he'd go. I mean, he'd be fun for sure. Probably above Deadpool, right? Yeah. We'd put him there. He'd have a ton of fun. The teleports, the party tricks, and his costume, like he could do almost anything. I mean, like it'd be so good. Magneto, oh man. I know very little about Magneto other than he carries a lot of trauma. I mean, I've watched all of the X-Men original series, X-Men 97. This has to be one of the hardest people to ever envision getting into something. This is something that you'd see in a flashback, like, oh, he was enjoying his time as a kid and everything got snatched away from him, and he's kind of like this anti-hero villain-ish person in the X-Men lore. Just because of like how he is. He's very stoic. He's old. He'd care for the kids, but man, like this might be like the worst one on the list for like Halloween vibes. I just don't think he'd care. Especially in a villain incarnation, he definitely wouldn't care. And yeah. Okay, so I think this is the completed, what's it called, Halloween list here. Let me see if we can go present it. Boom. You can't really see the edges really closely, but actually, let me actually turn my camera off and we'll be able to see the edges here. And that's going to be the end of the tier list, so let's just turn it off real quick. And yeah, so we've got the S tier is Jubilee, Star-Lord, Miss Marvel, Nova, Shadowcat, Iceman, Spider-Ham, Domino, Storm, Drax, Nightcrawler, Deadpool, and Groot. A tier, we've got SPDR, She-Hulk, Colossus, Ant-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man Peter Parker, Spider-Woman, Gambit, Thor, Ironheart, Hawkeye, Valkyrie, Black Widow, Rogue, Phoenix, Ghost Spider, and Venom. In B tier, we've got X-23, Black Panther, Iron Man, Magic, Scarlet Witch, War Machine, Hulk, Wasp, Bishop, Cable, Vision, Rocket, Angel. Then we have C tier, we have Adam Warlock, Psylocke, Spectrum, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Quicksilver, Doctor Strange, Gamora, Cyclops, and then D for Death tier, we've got Wolverine, Nebula, and Magneto. So that is our tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this pretty goofy video here today. I thought it would be fun. I couldn't really think of anything really super thematic or fun for Halloween. So I hope this suffices. People like tier lists. People like listening to random things. And I didn't really know what the tier list was going to be about until I started recording. So if you guys enjoy this, please leave a like down below. Leave a sub if you haven't already. Leave a comment on the one that you most vehemently, I don't know how to say that word, the one that you most strongly disagree with me, and the one you most strongly agree with, and tell me why for both of them. If you think my list is terrible, go ahead and make a list for yourself and leave it down in the comment below. Thanks guys for hanging. Thanks for chilling out. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Goodbye.